Hello friends, welcome to Squared Plans. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to be setting up our horizontal spreads for the next week in April. I've got some sticker books here ready to go, so let's jump in. This week is the third week of the April Plannable Challenge, and this week's theme is In the Garden. So if you'd like to participate, go ahead and post your spreads up on Instagram using the hashtag PlannableApril 2021. We'd love to see what you come up with. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and lay down some wax paper here, and I decided that I wanted to use the Pressed Floral sticker book once again for this theme. I've used it already in a couple of different layouts so far for April. I did a health spread last week, as well as my April monthly using this book, which is kind of ironic because I wasn't even sure I was going to pick this book up when I saw it. I wasn't sold on the pressed florals, but as I started to lay things out on the spreads, I started to realize how useful this book was as far as stickers and decor, and then the colors are really well matched with a lot of different books, so just thought it ended up being a really good pick, even though at first I was weary about buying it. So anyway, the theme for In the Garden, of course, makes perfect sense with these florals, and I wanted to use the ones that felt more stemmy or had longer stems like they were growing out of the ground. And I'm going to do kind of just a bottom decor here using different aspects of those ones that I do have. A lot of the florals are just flower heads, but for this one, I'm going to specifically grab out the ones with the stems and use those for the design. It's going to take me a little bit just to figure out how I want these guys to lay in. I definitely need to keep Thursday functional for me, so I'm going to do decor in the middle and then pushed out to the sides. But I want to make sure I have plenty of room there on Thursday to at least get in a full checklist and or a focus box if I have the room. I'm also trying to pick colors that are contrasting with each other as I go through. I don't want them to be all one color in one section, trying to mix it up. And most of these stem florals are purple in tone or green, but I do have a few with some pink highlights, and the yellow I'm going to pull in as well. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing any other colors of stems. I really do want to have a good variation of color, so with it being so purple heavy in the book with these types of flowers that I'll be using, just making it a little bit tougher for me to mix things up the way that I want. But I think I can make it work with what I have here, especially grabbing in some of these smaller green aspect ones and some of these bigger pink ones that I wasn't sure I was going to use at first, but I think that'll really help pull in all of the colors that I need to make this feel more like a garden. And I think this would have been even cuter had I had clear stickers to work with. But the paper stickers turned out pretty good in a sense that they stand out from the background of the line, so it does kind of help push the flowers up off of the background. Clear stickers will kind of melt into the lines and wouldn't have quite the dramatic popping off of the page effect. But they just don't blend as well together. As I mentioned before, paper stickers are harder to place next to each other or on top of each other. It just has a different look to it. It doesn't quite look as seamless. It looks built upon versus when you have clear stickers, they kind of melt into each other a bit more. So I've just pulled out my fun floral sticker book, and I had a couple of quotes in there that I thought would match well with this In the Garden theme, specifically this one that says grow through what you go through. I thought that was a nice one. I also pulled out my colorful floral sticker book that I just picked up, and I'm pulling in some boxes now that I thought might work with this theme. I'm going to lay them in, but I'm not real sold on the colors right now. The colors of that book aren't a perfect match for the ones from the pressed florals. They're a lot more bright and, I don't know, more electric to the eye than the actual flowers I have on the page. So I'm just trying to see what else is available and if I really want to go down this route with the colorful florals color scheme mixed in here. Right now I'm still debating whether I like it or not. I also pulled in this other quote from Fun Florals. It says, "She saw beauty in everything." I wouldn't normally gravitate towards a quote like this, but its styling is very much the same as the one that I really wanted to use, that grow through what you go through. And I needed that balance on the page to have more than one quote. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that in anyway and just use it, but I'm not a real big fan of these like she quotes that are in some of the Happy Planner stuff. It just, I don't know, they don't speak to me that much. I just kind of like it to be a little bit more general and not so much about, I don't know, kind of personifying yourself. I don't know. It's just the thing I have. So I like positive affirmations to a sense, but I don't know, this one seems a little bit more cheesy to me. So personal preference, but I will suck it up for design. I'm in my Rainbow Mega sticker book right now, and I'm pulling in some confetti just to add some texture. I really like adding texture to a spread. I just feel like it puts it over the top. It really just makes it have that wow factor. So I'm just going in and pulling the confetti I have in that book, and the colors kind of matched up to the florals. So there is some purple tones I'm using, purple, pink, and then I also pulled in some of the green tones with the confetti as well. And then a little bit later down the road, I'm also going to pull in some orange yellow tones. Just kind of round it out. Also kind of give it more of a colorful, almost a rainbow vibe to it, but not 100%. Just adds a little bit of brightness, and I think that's just going to work with just the pale bits of yellow I have on there. Just kind of brings up the yellow factor a little bit for more contrast and interest. And I'm cutting up the pieces so that I can mix and match them on top of each other and put them on the florals as I can. So each one has a little bit of variation. Nothing's completely one color. I like that mix up of the confetti dots. Just moving those quotes around, trying to see if I can find a good home for them. And I'm going back into the pressed floral sticker book to pull in some focus boxes. Like I said, this book was a surprisingly good find, and of course the colors in the book are going to match perfectly with the floral, so I probably should have just realized I was going to get into this book anyway for my focus boxes, but I wanted to try the colorful floral sticker book just in case I thought there was a good match, but I think the native focus boxes from the pressed floral sticker book were a better match. And just trying to see what else now I might want to bring in here. This red looks good, but it's just a little bit plain in some ways, so I'm just looking for some headers and things that I can use on some of the days where I don't have a focus box to kind of highlight an area for a focus. And I like this header, this yellow one that says "Time for Coffee," but it definitely draws your attention right to it. So I'm trying to look for some other options. And I think I like these little subtle headers a bit more with the black text, kind of bringing in the black for the quotes and then still has that hint of color from all of the florals that I'll be using at the bottom. And I thought about bringing in some flower heads kind of up and around the spread, but I thought that started to detract from the main focus of the garden feels at the bottom. So decided against that, and I'm looking for something else I can bring in just to add a little bit of something extra up here on the spread. So I was drawn to these super thin kind of color block stickers here and thought I could bring those in almost like a line of washi in some ways, adding more color up, bringing it up the page, a little bit more interest, and tying in some of that color I put in with the confetti down below onto the spread. And I'm liking this, but I feel like I need a little bit more in certain areas, so I'm going to do some finagling here and see what we can come up with. And I decided that I wanted it to be kind of every other line as you go across, so like, I don't know how to describe it when I'm just looking at it, but basically I wanted to have it terraced down like a stair step all the way down the page. So I'm moving over the stickers now, and I'm just going to start laying things in. I'm going to work on the corners here and move those over manually just so that I can have a clean area to move over that middle section using the wax paper. I'm going to flip this upside down. It's a little bit easier for me to align that way. And then I'm going to pull back the wax paper so some of the sticker is exposed in my little grouping and get that set, and then I can easily slide them off once I figure out the perfect placement. And this really works well when I have big groups of stickers touching. Said that before. It's a nice little technique when you have a lot of stickers all in one space, and specifically when they're touching. So I'm just moving over the pieces one by one just so I can have good control over their alignment and where they're being placed. And I think I want to put a little bit of white opaque ink behind the darkest of the lines here for this quote, just so that it's not quite so bold behind the quote and fades a bit more into the background. I'm going to do the same thing here on the opposite side where I'm going to place the other quote I have. And I'm also going to put in that little bit of sticker strip. I don't know if that's exactly where it was on the wax paper, but that happens sometimes when I move things over. Placement kind of varies a bit, but it always ends up okay. Just stickers, right? So I moved over almost everything now, just a few more boxes and headers. That looks good. And I want to try and add a bit more of that confetti feel up here at the top just to tie everything together. Also kind of reminds me of like fireflies or bugs in the garden, just the little dots. I think it plays well with the florals in the bottom and brings those feels up the page. So I'm gonna just quickly use the wax paper again, kind of layer in some more of that color and variety. And I really like to cut these up so that I can get those little chunks that I want in just the right sizes. Makes it a lot easier to work with. And I got one more here that I want to bring in, one more color, the orange and the yellow. Just going to start laying it in, cutting it up, laying it in. And I like that, so let's go ahead and move those over and get some good placement going. And the last one here at the top, I like that a lot. So I think this is good. Now I just need to go ahead and separate out these pages and trim off all of these excess pieces of sticker. Try to save any ones I think I might be able to reuse. I don't save the stems. The stems aren't very pretty, but sometimes the leaves or extra petals are usable in another area. So I will save those and see if I can bring those in. I also need to trim out the holes so that I can get these guys in my planner. So that's going to take a minute. And I'm using my Slice Precision Cutter. I get a lot of questions about this guy. It's very handy for this small, fine, detailed cutting. I have that as well as my small cutting board that I got from Daiso down below in the description if you are looking for tools like that or any of the other items I used in this video to create the spread. Just check the description. I have links to everything down below. And I tried to reuse these pieces that I mentioned before, but they just didn't quite work with what I had there. So I'm just going to put those to the side and then go ahead and trim out the next page. And once I am done with that, you guys, we will be done, friends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!